And in the last few minutes, survivors of Jeffrey Epstein and the lawmakers behind the charge to release the complete Epstein files spoke out. A vote on the release is set to come later this afternoon in the House. Scripps News national correspondent Alex Miller is live on Capitol Hill for more. And Alex, that news conference was emotional and compelling. What were some of the biggest takeaways that you heard from those survivors?
Yeah, Holly, it was emotional to hear these women's experiences, not just with Jeffrey Epstein, but in the trials and tribulations that they have faced for decades, trying to bring this issue to light. You know, I was speaking with these women's attorney just a couple of minutes before this news conference started, and she said she's been preparing her clients for this, some of them for decades. Maria Farmer, one of them, her sister Annie, was here in her place. She reported this in 1996. So these women have been working incredibly hard for decades to try to bring this issue to the forefront. We heard from about a dozen survivors talking about their experience and their focus on bringing justice not only for themselves, but for the roughly 1,000 women that they believe are victims of Jeffrey Epstein. Listen to a few of them.
This was me at 14 years old. I was a child. I was in 9th grade. I was hopeful for life and what the future had held for me. He stole a lot from me at 14. So just a little reminder there.
Survivors begin our own fight, the survivor revolution. And we intend to change this nation for the better.
And Holly, there was a lot of focus today on this bill that will likely head to the Senate. We're expecting nearly a unanimous vote here in the House. But when it gets to the Senate, there's a lot of concern, as these members of Congress who are leading the charge on this have said, that there will be a mucking up of this legislation, which they're worried that, according to Congressman Thomas Massey, that the president is trying to protect donors and old friends. There was a discussion about that at the very end that I thought was very interesting. But when the Senate takes this up, they don't necessarily have to take it up immediately. And so there was a chorus of conversation over the last hour or so saying that the Senate needs to bring this up immediately and not to change anything, because of course then it would have to go back to the House for another vote. There's concerns that they want to see more names redacted, and the congressman made it very clear that they believe that the survivors are behind them on the bill that stands as is. Look, I have spoken to survivors over the course of the last few months about this, and they have been very clear that this is not a political issue, that they don't believe this is a Democrat or a Republican issue. But I will say what we saw today in this press conference was something that we have not seen before. They have been incredibly critical of the president during this press conference, some of them saying that they voted for him, one woman calling his handling of this a national embarrassment. They want to see him step forward and really take ownership of this issue. Of course, we know that he advised Republicans to vote to support this bill and said he would sign it if it came across his desk. But it was very clear here that the women and the members of Congress were somewhat skeptical. Marjorie Taylor Greene being one of them, saying that she only trusts actions on this rather than the words that the president says. She obviously has been in the direct line of fire from the president on this issue. Being called a traitor by him, something that she discussed. The women, as they got up there, thanked her for putting herself in front of them on this issue, and they said that she had courage, as she, has really taken a political setback, to say the very least, in terms of her relationship with the president, who we know she has supported for years. And so there is very much a discussion now happening about what the president's involvement in this issue should be, and whether or not they really trust that when this inevitably, most likely, passes the House, whether it really does have a future in the Senate.
Yep, you had one word there, I think, that spoke volumes today at that press conference to all of those survivors and those Congress men and women. Courage and hope. Scripps News national correspondent Alex Miller live on Capitol Hill for us. Thank you so much, Alex.